Okay, so thank you so much for being here today, you guys. I want to first off say I'm glad that you guys made the effort to come here. To me, that's a big step in itself. So, me and my other mediator here, we're very happy to be working with you guys today, and we hope that we're giving you a space that you feel comfortable enough to share what the situation is that's going on between you two. And feel free to make yourself as comfortable as you need to be. So if you need to get a drink of water, we can go ahead and get you that. Or if you're just uncomfortable, go ahead and just let us know, and we can make adjustments to the room or do what we need to do to accommodate your needs. Okay. And also, we just want to make sure that we're being as respectful as we can be, and think about how you would want to be treated if you were telling your story, or if you were sharing your situation. So let's be as respectful as we can. I know that emotions get the best of you sometimes, and that's understandable. But that's why me and Nancy are here. We're here to hopefully help you channel those feelings into something that we can make. We can either come with a resolution out of, or we can just find some way to get this fixed. But if nothing comes from it, as long as we're talking about the issue, that'll be good for both of you. Do you have anything that you want to add?
So as my colleague explained, you guys did take the first step is to coming and actually trying to resolve your guys' issues, so thank you for that. At the end of the day, we are here for you guys. We are here to fix your guys' issues. We're not here just for fun or anything. This is you guys looking for us to help you find a solution to it. Let's keep it really respectful, like my colleague mentioned. Let's not use profanity. Let's go ahead and limit. We're all adults here. Let's keep it very mature. When one person is talking, let's go ahead and respect the other person. I know there's emotion really going on. There's probably going to be anger, but let's go ahead and hold back from making any comments until that person is done, and then we can move forward.
I like my team sheets.
So with that being said, does anyone want to start first, or does anyone have anything on their mind that they want to start and get off their chest, and then we can go from there?
Yeah, I mean, I could go first. Pretty much just want to talk about how my neighbor here, I never really had an issue with you until like I was just like in my backyard with my children, and they were just like playing around in the backyard, and then like I noticed like something odd, and like so I like looked over my fence, and like it was my neighbor fully nude, and my kids could have easily seen it, and we're living in a nice neighborhood, you know, and like obviously what you do in your house is whatever you do, but I would just appreciate like you not to be nude in your backyard and have my kids see that. Like my kids are 9 and 12, like they don't need to see that. They don't need to see a grown adult naked, you know? Like, and just pretty much like I just felt very uncomfortable, and I know my kids would feel uncomfortable, so that's where I stand in the situation.
Okay, yeah. So we hear his feelings here, and they're completely validated. I mean, he has a family, so we're going to keep that in mind. But I think it's also important to validate your feelings and hear your side of the story as well. So as much information as you can give us.
First off, just I feel whatever my wife and I do in the privacy of our home or in our backyard is still on our property. I would like to know, how did they see us? We do have an 8-foot fence, so I figured that would be fine in our own backyard, enjoying our own hot tub. So that is my question. How did you see us?
I mean, there's holes in the fence. You could easily see it. My kids look through the holes all the time. I mean, like they're curious, you know, and like so I took a look. I mean, my kids look through the hole all the time. So I mean.
So before we continue, let's also work on. You talk to me first, and let's get as much information as we can out of you, and then we can go ahead and start asking this other party here more questions. So do you want to share anything else about the experience? I mean, have you been working on this project? And so
we've been working on this project actually for a while now, and basically now that we have it up and running, you know, we want to enjoy it. You know, my wife and I, we work very hard. We paid a lot of money for what we live, and we would like to enjoy it in any way, shape, or form that we see fit. And we don't like how we have our neighbors now posting a sign in the middle of the yard saying no nudity when children are around. And we kind of felt us,
Mhm.
but they haven't, you know, approached us, I guess, about it in the right way. So
Has this other party made any effort to come communicate their
I did try to
feelings?
approach him. I definitely
So let's
did.
wait. I want to hear you totally. I want to hear every detail. But let me actually talk to my party right here to the right of me first. What was your interpretation? Because clearly, this party right here is saying he did make an effort to come and talk to you. Do you feel like it was a conversation that was successful?
again, like I said, I didn't feel like they went the right way about approaching us about this issue, because if there is cracks in the fence, you know, we are neighbors. I can go half on the price to repair the cracks in the fence. Therefore, no more cracks. Therefore, we both have our own privacy, which we are both entitled to have. But again, the way that I was approached by my neighbor, it was pretty, you know, it was kind of out of the ordinary, and I didn't really respect that. So
What made it like out of the ordinary in detail? Was it like tone, or was it like a certain time of the day that it just wasn't right for you, or to talk, or?
a little bit everything.
Mm.
I'm just gonna, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. And just one question. How long have you and your wife been working on this project? Give me kind of like a timeline of your project, and when did you guys recently start
It was
doing this project?
a couple months, yeah, over the summertime.
How long have you been living in this neighborhood? I believe you said earlier it was quite a bit of time.
Yeah, it's been a while, a couple years, I believe.
Okay. So back to our party over here. Go ahead and talk about that confrontation, that
I'm sorry, 10 years.
10 years? That confrontation you had with your neighbor, and do you think that the way you approached was successful, and what came out of it was something that you
Absolutely not. I think I try to approach him, and I try to go to his house and try to talk to him about the issue that I had. And him and his wife just went in their car and just left. Didn't even give me the time of day to speak to me. I literally just wanted to talk to them. I raised my kids religiously. They go to a religious Catholic school. They don't need to be seeing that. I don't need to be seeing that. We've been stuck in our house because we don't want to see it. And it just feels like we're just trapped inside our house because, first of all, my neighbor won't talk to me. Second of all, they're running nude around in their backyard, and I can just see it, and it's inappropriate, and that's why I put up the sign.
Okay.
And I feel like my neighbor doesn't want to give me the time of day, and I feel that it's a bad issue right now.
And do you feel like the sign, do you think the sign is helping your situation, or do you think it made your situation worse?
I feel like since he didn't give me the time of day, it brought the awareness, you know, because I feel like if I didn't put the sign up, that he wouldn't be aware of the situation. And like I said, he didn't give me the time of day, so I mean, I'm gonna put the sign up.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. You said you went to go speak to him. Was it only once that you tried speaking to him?
I mean, by the time when I went to go speak to him, he literally slammed his car door on me and then just zoomed away.
Okay.
So I felt
Early, I was late.
I felt
Okay,
disrespected.
let's go ahead and keep this professional, like we mentioned. When one person is talking, let's wait till that person finishes, and then we can go on to the next part, okay? Okay, so you mentioned you spoke to him. Did you happen to go like next week, or did you try again? Or
I
did
felt
you kinda give
disrespected,
up?
so I didn't try.
Okay, so it was just a one-time thing, and then
I mean, if he's not gonna give me the time of day, why am I gonna give him my time of day? You know?
again, it's perfect. So then, other party, is there a reason why you drove off, or what's kind of
Yes,
your
he approached.
reason?
Sorry about that. I'm sorry. He approached me early in the morning. I was running late for work, so yes, it was a bad time, and it was the only attempt to try to contact me. Usually, trying to, approach someone early in the morning during, like peak hours of rush hour time, stuff like that. That's not the best time to approach someone, especially about an issue like this. I've been living here for 10 years, so I feel like he could have, approached me on a more afternoon, coming home, doing yard work, something like that. But just early in the morning and just irate. No one wants to start the morning like that, first thing in the morning.
Did
Especially
you happen to communicate with him?
I didn't have time. Again, early in the morning, you got to think of my mindset at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Someone's coming at you, just yelling at you, and it's like, it's too early for this. Didn't get my morning coffee, none of that. So.
Well, yeah, I hear you. I think what's interesting is that we hear from you, your family has valued traditional, and you're sending your children to a religious school, right?
Yes.
So do you hear that do you hear that coming from him? Can you hear, or can you understand that
It's extremely important to me and my family.
he holds that close to him, traditional and being religious, and then can you understand that he has built this backyard, right? Your dream backyard as well.
On my property.
On your property, and so he enjoys lavish, I guess, parties, right? So, has his parties ever, or has his time out in the back ever affected you, like noise-wise, or
I mean,
anything, or is it just
the parties in the back is not really a huge issue to me. I mean, sometimes there is a little bit of noise, and like I have sent a couple noise complaints to the police. But I mean, I think this is all rooting from them being naked in their backyard. It's just something that I'm not okay with, and my family's not okay with. Like, and I don't want my kids to see that, and I just feel very uncomfortable, and I feel very like in the dark because he doesn't speak to me. It's just like it's bad timing right now, and I do not feel comfortable living in the place I do, and I just purchased this house, and it sucks to say, but my neighbor is not really cooperating with me or talking to me, so like I don't know where to go from here.
And do you hear that your neighbor says that it wasn't probably the right time for him when you did make that effort?
I get
How does
that.
that make you feel?
Feels like an excuse because he could have just told me, can we talk later? Like the courtesy of just saying that would have been nice, but rather than shutting his door and just running away, like, and not saying anything, that kind of like made it worse for me.
Okay, now put yourself into his shoes. If it was early in the morning, you're running late to work, you didn't have your coffee, and then your neighbor comes to approach you, speak about something, would you have taken time out of the day to speak to him, even though you were running late to work, or?
I mean, I didn't know he was running late, but I would at least, like, if I were in that situation, I would at least told them, like, can we talk later, That's just the common courtesy thing to do.
And then, other party, they did mention about you throwing parties in your backyard. Can you go more into details about that? Because it looks like it's also kind of an issue, not as big as an issue as what is going on with the community, but give us more insight on these parties that you're throwing in your backyard.
So we do throw parties, lavish parties, as you mentioned, lavish like that. But they do tend to get a little rowdy, a little noisy. I do apologize for that. We do try to keep it down, but they do run over sometimes. Alcoholic beverages are consumed, so we do forget, the time of day it is, and we do forget how loud we are because we're not aware, and I do apologize for that. But again, going back to my wife and I enjoying our backyard, the privacy of our backyard, I don't see how that's an issue with him and his family. If I'm doing something on my property behind 8-foot walls, which were put up for a reason, or 8-foot fence, which was put up for a reason, for privacy, they need to control their kids and tell them not to look through the fence or not to look out the windows, or that has nothing to do with us. Now, I'd probably put up a tent around it, maybe a tinted tent, maybe, but other than that, I don't see the issue. I mean, free spirit,
Right, and then, sorry, didn't catch it in the beginning, but do you have kids? What's kind of your situation?
We don't have kids.
Okay, you don't have
We don't have kids.
Do you plan on having kids?
That I'm not sure about yet. We're
Okay.
just living one day at a time.
Okay, perfect. So you did mention that you don't see the issues if one day were to come where you do have kids. Would you be bothered if your neighbors were, nude in their backyard and your kids happen to see that? Would you personally be bothered by that?
If my kids happen to see that, I would be bothered, but then again, I would take that upon myself to make sure that if there's cracks in the fence that my kids can look out of, it's like child-proofing your house. That's part of your house. Your yard should be child-proof as well. So I don't get how that's my fault for being in the privacy of my yard. I don't know.
Yeah, I just want to nip something in the bud really quick because I hear that you're mentioning something about his parenting. Let's just refrain from talking about the other person's parenting just because we don't know how the other person would react. And children, it is kind of like a sacred thing where it can be a sensitive subject. But I think you do bring a lot of valid points up about the way that you built your backyard and the 8-foot fence, right? I mean, clearly your neighbor has still seen you guys in the buff, right? So I want to know, what do you feel about what your neighbor just said and the apologies that he's made so far in this session?
I really appreciate the apology. I did hear that, and I really appreciate that. But it still doesn't fix the issue. Obviously, we're sharing a border that is not just mine; it is yours as well, and it's broken.
Which I agreed to go half on as well.
Okay,
earlier.
guys, this was like we mentioned. Let's go ahead and let one party speak, and then after the parties after they go.
Yeah, so let's have Tommy speak to Nancy first, and then we'll speak after they speak, and then we'll come together.
Okay.
Alright, so pretty much it's just like that hole in the wall, you know. I mean, it's something that we need to work together to get fixed, and we're not gonna be able to do that if we don't talk. And when I go up to actually talk to them, like I feel disrespected, you know, and like in my family, like if you disrespect me, like I'm not gonna give you the time to date either, you know. And just like raising my kids very traditional is very important to me, and like taking them to like religious school, like I raise them well, you know, and like I'm trying to show them like the right way to do things, and like I just do not feel comfortable like having them like having a chance to see like my neighbor like nude with his wife, you know, like it's just like it makes me feel uncomfortable. They're 9 and 12, they're young kids, you know.
Yeah. Okay. So you are mentioning that you are very disturbed by what's going on, and what would be your solution to these issues?
I mean, just being able to speak to my neighbor, I think that's very important to me, you know. I don't think we're gonna solve anything if we don't have communication and build a relationship.
Okay, so you just want to be able to speak to your neighbor.
Yeah.
That's all you
And
want. You don't want
no,
anything fixed with the fence.
I
you
also
don't-
I also do want them to stop being nude in their backyard where my kids can see.
Okay. So this is mostly you're trying to control what's going on in his household. This is not regarding the fence or.
I mean, I guess we could fix the fence and that would work. I mean, as long as my kids can't see it, I don't have an issue with it.
Okay. Sounds good.
So let's help us understand a little more too, like your neighbor just did, about the way you go out there and just your life in the backyard. Help us understand a little more.
Okay, so just basically